सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। On the page 2, let us read the verse number 3. सर्वभूतेषु येनैकम् भावमव्ययमीक्षते अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम्। पृथक्त्वेन तु यज्ञानं नानाभावान् पृथग्विधान् वेत्ति सर्वेषु भूतेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि राजसम्। सर्वभूतेषु येन एकं भावम् अव्ययम् ईक्षते, that knowledge by which one sees one in many. This is called the true knowledge. Satvikam jnanam, the true knowledge is that because of which one sees one in many, because that is the reality. There is manyness at one level, and in spite of manyness, there is also oneness at another level. Just as with these ornaments, now we have them today. So we have manyness at one level, at the level of name and form. You can call it chain, bangle, earring, etc. And there is also oneness at another level, which is at the level of gold. So similarly, in all of us also, there is manyness at one level. There is a variety, there is a diversity, and Vedanta does not deny that. But Vedanta wants us to see something more than that. Our organs of perception reveal the various names and forms, and which is quite right. Meaning that what I perceive with my organs of perception as many persons, many names and forms, it is quite all right. But that is not the ultimate knowledge. There is something more than that, that in spite of all this apparent diversity and variety, there is a oneness. Something that is common between you and I. And that is what is different between the two of us is that our personalities are different, but the person for manifesting through the personality is one. Just as the bulbs are many, but the electricity manifesting through them is one. The waves are many, the water manifesting through them is one. The ornaments are many, the gold manifesting through them is one. Similarly also, the personalities are many. The bodies are many, the minds are many, the intellects are many, personalities are many. But then all of these are enlivened by one consciousness, which is the self of you, self of me, self of all. And one who sees that. Not that that person does not see the diversity. With the organs of perception, that wise person also sees the diversity that we see. But then with his eye of knowledge in the intellect, he sees also the one consciousness which is his own self. He sees that as the self of all. That is the true knowledge. This is what Lord Krishna, that is a knowledge that Lord Krishna wants us to gain. How can you gain that knowledge? Right now, the difference between you and I is very important to me. That you are a man, you are a woman, I am a man, I am X, Y, Z. All the differences are, and they form the basis of my interaction with you. And that interaction based on this difference between you and I is what creates all the conflicts everywhere. That you are a man, you are a woman, you are this. So everyone is branded by their personality, and that is how in our interaction with each other, this idea of the division, duality is built in. Upanishad says that when the other person finds that I am looking at that person as different from me, then I am rejected by that person. And when I look upon you as my own self, then I am received, welcomed by you. So we do not even know how, in our very perception, the conclusion of this difference, there is a seed for the conflict. And therefore all the conflicts anywhere can ultimately be traced to this seed of the duality, the division that you are different and I am different. We do not deny that your body, mind, sense complex is different from that of mine. But the self that you are is different from self that I am. Now who told you that? Swami, I see you as different from me. You see me, my body, as different from your body. You see my mind as different from your mind. How do you conclude that I am different from you? By concluding that I am the body and you are that body, that is a basic conclusion. But then, this body, mind, they are all the instruments given to me for my functioning in the world. It's a costume given to me for playing my roles on this, the platform of the world. And who am I? I am the actor functioning through that costume. And the actor that manifests through this costume is one. This is what Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita wants to teach us. Can you imagine that when I look upon you as myself, and what will be the result of that? That I treat you as I treat myself. When I see you as myself, then I treat you as I treat myself. How do I treat myself? I always treat myself with love. There's one entity I always love, and that is myself. Unconditionally. Whether I'm good, bad, whatever I am, my love for myself is unconditional. And imagine that I look upon you and I discover that you are also the self that I am. In that case, my relation with you is one of unconditional love. And that's what the great people are. That's what the wise people are. This knowledge removes all the obstacles to the manifestation of love. Love is our essential nature. And that love alone reflects itself through our interactions. But then the division, dualities and ragadveshas, they distort that love. When the distorting factors are not there, then I treat you as I treat myself. I always love myself. In that case, I will always love everything. It's ultimate. And that knowledge is the true knowledge. Second knowledge is that you are different, I am different, the differences are there at the level of the costume, which I take to be real differences. The costumes are all different. Body is a costume, mind is costume, they are all different. And that is how far my perception goes. My perception does not go beyond the costume to the entity wearing that costume, and I take that as the ultimate reality. So that is what the verse number 4 said, and that is where we are right now, and then we have to grow. To what? To recognizing that there are differences between you and I. Those differences are not consequential, inconsequential. That there is oneness between you and I is of consequence. And if that is what I discover and that is what becomes the basis, then there is no conflict in life, there is no problem in life, all there is nothing but love and happiness. And someone goes even beyond that, so read the verse number 5 on the page 3. Yattu kritsnavade kasmin karye saktam haitukam atatvarthavadalpancha tattamasamudahritam. So the best knowledge is one who sees one in many. The middling knowledge is one who sees many in many. That is what we have. The worst knowledge is one who sees many in one. Seeing one in many, many in many, and many in one. So, someone says, this alone is Atma, body alone is Atma. This image itself is God and nothing more than that. So one whose vision is confined to this little thing, that is called Ishvara, that is called Atma. All that image is Ishvara. This is how one thinks, and many think that way. This is called the knowledge born of tamas, and that is the lowest kind of knowledge. And that will have, I see differences everywhere. That is where a lot of conflicts come. Your God is this and my God is this. Have you heard this? Look at your God. Now he'll bring an image of Lord Krishna and put it in water. Look at your God. He got drowned. He brings a cross made of wood. Same water. Look at my God. He's floating. So this is your God and my God and his God and God in heaven and God in beyond space and stuff like that. All this kind of your God and my God. This is the narrowest perception, the narrowest conclusion. And that is the seed of even seeing many in many also creates conflict, but seeing one in many, or many in one rather, creates most conflict. Ekasmin karye saktam ahaitukam. This alone is God and nothing else. It is a God that excludes everything else. That God or the self that includes everything is the best vision. Those which are different from one another, middling vision. This alone is right, everything else is wrong. This is the worst vision. Yattu Krishna vadekasmin karye saktam. And there is no reason for that. Why do you think that this alone is God and that is not? That this image is God, that image is not? Or God only formless and with the God cannot have form, God alone is formless only and God cannot have form. So this kind of blind conclusions. If God is formless, then where did the forms come from? What are these things that God excludes all of them? They're excluded by God, or so that means that God is an exclusive entity, excluding other things. In fact, God means the truth, and that must be all inclusive. It cannot exclude anything. So Vedanta provides an all-inclusive vision. The one in many, doesn't matter what the many are, that each one is nothing but manifestation of God or Ishvara, manifestation of same consciousness. So highest knowledge, middling knowledge, lowest knowledge. So Lord Krishna said that, hey Arjuna, I will tell you the variety of divisions in knowledge, jnanam, karma cha karta cha. In knowledge, the differences because of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Meaning that one whose mind is predominant in sattva sees one in many. One whose mind is predominant in rajas sees many in many. One whose mind is predominant in tamas sees many in one. So this is about the knowledge. And you can see, either you call it knowledge, perception, conclusions, and depending upon whatever knowledge is, whatever conclusion is, that forms a basis of our life. That forms the basis of how I look at the world, how I interact with the world, what kind of notions I entertain about the world. So somebody goes along and breaks everything that he doesn't believe in, that is this is not God. Somebody says. Somebody says this alone is God, etc., etc. So all these narrow perceptions about Ishvara or God, what Vedanta says is what is Ishvara. What is God or what is Ishvara. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. The very first Upanishad called Ishavasya Upanishad. The very first sentence is Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. All of these, that is the universe, is nothing but Ishvara. So that is a vision that Vedanta wants us to grow into. If that is the vision, then there is no conflict of any kind, then there is the inclusion of everything. When I recognize myself as a self of yours, and there is everybody is included. So that's how the Lord Krishna told us about the three divisions of knowledge. Jnanam, karma. Now Lord Krishna tells us about the three divisions of karma or action based on sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva means action performed by one whose mind is predominantly sattvic. Now I guess you remember sattva, rajas and tamas. that these three are called gunas or dispositions, and these three make up our mind or our personality. Each one of us is a mixture of sattva, rajas and tamas, three dispositions. And somewhere there is predominance of sattva, somewhere of rajas, somewhere of tamas, and that's why we have all these countless different personalities. The person is one. Personalities are countless because they are all made of this various combination of sattva, rajas and tamas. So now the action performed by one who enjoys predominance of sattva. Sattva means tranquility. Sattva means peace, tranquility, inclusiveness. That is sattva. When that person performs karma, how that karma is being told in the verse number 6 on the third page. Niyatam sangarahitam aragadveshatah kritam aragadveshatah kritam afala prepsuna karma yat tat satvikam uchyate. Let us look at the translation of this verse, which is given on the page number 4. That karma is called satvikam, born of sattva. So what are the characteristics of the action performed by the person who enjoys a sattvic mind, which is what we all want to be? The reason why the sattva is presented or sattvic aspects are presented is so that we grow to that point. All of us have the sattva in us, rajas also in us, tamas in us. In each category, Lord Krishna describes the manifestation of sattva, rajas and tamas, so that we recognize our own self. That, hey, look, this is rajas, this is rajas, this is tamas. You should give up this tamas, you should give up the rajas, you should grow into sattva. So this is given to us for understanding our own personality, understanding our own mind, so that we recognize what it is that we should cultivate and what it is that we should give up. So we can recognize in our own mind, hey, this is a tendency born of rajas, I should grow out of it. This tendency born of tamas, I should give it up. Tendency born of sattva, yes, I should encourage that, cultivate that, nurture that, nourish that. So we nurture and nourish the sattva aspect of our personality. The tamas aspect we give up, and slowly rajas aspect also we give up. How do you do that, Swamiji? The rajas tamas aspect is given up by first giving importance to rajas, I overcome tamas, and then giving importance to sattva, I overcome the rajas. From tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva. That is the order that is being taught in the Bhagavad Gita. That is being taught throughout and is being taught here also. So niyatam Niyatam karma. See the translation. Niyatam karma, the daily obligatory duties. Yat krutam, that which is performed. How is it performed? Sangarahitam, without attachment. So the karma or action that we perform, the attributes of that karma or characters of that karma are given. Number one is that Sangarahitam, without the action is performed without attachment, number one. Aragadveshatah kritam, performed without likes and dislikes, meaning that not likes and dislikes do not govern what I do. Phalaprepsuna, by one who does not hanker for the reward. That karma is satvikam, that is born of sattva. So this is the description karma performed by karma yogi. This is what Lord Krishna has been teaching in the Gita in all the chapters until now. How does a karma yogi, which is what Lord Krishna wants us to be, how does that person perform? What are the various attitudes in his mind? One is said that he performs niyatam karma, the karma or the action that he should perform. In every situation, or in most situations, we have a choice between what I like and what is right. So, what I like and what is right. My blood reports have come. Doctors have declared me that there is already too much sweetness within me. So Swamiji, please stop all sweets. What is right for me is when the Swami goes, there is gulab jamun, there is all kinds of things are presented before you. The sweet roti, the kheer, the gulab jamun. What I like, that is what I love. What is right? What is right is that I should keep far away from that. Just a simple example of that what I go through day to day. But almost in every situation, there is a choice whether I do what is right or take a shortcut. There is this traffic light, I'm in a hurry, I'm getting late, I see the red traffic light, nobody around, no cameras. Beat the light. Here I don't think you can do that because there are all kinds of cameras and traffic policemen and so forth. So, but where such things are not there, like stop signs, Now in small streets and places like that at 2 o'clock, you're going, who is watching you? Who cares for the stop? Even during day they don't care. They just tuk tuk tuk. So what is right is the stop at every stop sign. Stop, look, go. Stop, look, go. Stop. So many stop signs are there and I am in a hurry. I am already late. I look around, nobody around, therefore I beat the stop sign. This is a simple example that we can think of. But like that, in most of the situations we have choices. Whether to do what is right or do what I like. Usually what is right is unpleasant, very often. What I like is pleasant. What is right is usually unpleasant. Otherwise there will be no conflict. The reason why we have conflicts in our mind is because more often than not, what is right is not what I like. I'm not talking about you, I'm sure that is not the case there, but generally I'm talking, that what is right may not be what I like. What is right to say, what is right to do, what is right not to do. Every moment, if I am watchful, alert about what I do, I discover that I find myself saying things that I should not have said. I find myself, Swami, I find this thing on the table, all the cookies are there and nuts are there, and so when I'm passing by. I know I should not do, but that's very tempting. Those cashew nuts, which are all roasted and salted. Then there's a bottle there, there is, a jar there. Very tempting. So there are many temptations in our life, naturally. And that is what we call the development, or that is what we call the growth. So our Swami used to quote, what is called the growth, development, is to convert luxuries into necessities. What was luxury 25 years ago has become a necessity today. And this is what we call progress. So progress means what? Converting. So cell phone may be a luxury 20 years ago, I guess, or 25 years ago, 20 years ago. I can't do without, where is my cell phone? I make 15 calls, where is my cell phone? Where have I left it? Oh, please look under the cupboard and over this and over there. I keep that person busy for 20 minutes. Even though I may not need it, I don't have to make any, but I can't do without cell phone. Why do you need cell phone? I just must have it. That's all. What was a luxury has become a necessity. And that is called progress. And you know what it means? It means that we are only expanding our field of dependence. More necessities are there, more dependence is there, because what is necessity? I cannot do without something. If I look at my own life, 50 years ago when we came to the United States, what was our need? And what is my need today? So those days I needed a few things, now I need 500 things. So this is how, before we realize how we're slipping, this is a slippery path. This is called sangha or attachment or necessities. So necessities grow. And that's why what I like and what is right, slowly and slowly, more and more conflict gets created. More necessities I have, more likelihood there is of a conflict between what is right and what I like. So he says, niyatam, do what a daily. Niyatam is the technical word is a duty or obligatory duty. What is right to be done in a given situation? What is, in every situation I have to play a role. Right now I am playing a role that I am speaking to you. Later I will play a role that I am walking, I am a walker. Then I am a talker. Then I am an eater. Then I am a thinker, etc., etc. I am a doctor. This I keep on assuming different roles. Every situation expects a certain response from me, and I should provide an appropriate response. That requires that my mind must be in the right place. Mind is not in the right place, then my response is quite different from what is expected from me. If I am angry, for example, I am hurt, I am jealous, I am greedy. If any of those impulses takes over my mind, then my action is most likely to be different from what is right. And therefore, number one, in order for us to do what is right, it is necessary that our mind must be free from the various impulses. If the impulses arise, I do not submit myself to them. So next one says, aragadveshatah kritam, perform without likes and dislikes. These likes and dislikes is the theme that we find throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes called likes and dislikes, sometimes called attachments and aversions, sometimes called the lust, anger, greed, various impulses that arise in our mind. Attachment arises, aversion arises, jealousy arises, anger arises, greed arises. Why? We are born with that kind of a thing. And that is the task given to us, that we should slowly overcome those things. And this is what is taught in the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm sure all scriptures teach that, as to how what we do should not be dictated by our impulses. What we do should be dictated by what is right. My impulse of anger says that punish this fellow. What is right is I should be fair to a person. There must be fairness, there must be justice in my interaction with people, and not that I want to punish somebody, I want to hurt somebody. My greed says exploit this person, take advantage of the person. So my impulses may tell me to do different things in different situations. When greed arises, then I want to take advantage. Anger arises, I want to hurt. Passion arises, then I want to abuse. So kama, krodha, lobha, the lust, anger, greed, these are the passions or these are impulses which create all the damage everywhere. And each one of us has those things. And so Lord Krishna says that whenever you do something, make sure that any of these impulses does not control what you do. What controls what you do, what is right, is what is the criterion of what you do. My anger, my jealousy may dictate me to do it differently. I do not submit to those impulses. Aragadveshatah kritam, meaning that my behavior should not be dictated by impulses. My behavior must be dictated by what is right. That means I must, in every situation, invoke from myself a mind that enjoys calmness, enjoys discrimination, that does not submit itself to an impulse which will bring about injustice or hurt or violence. So araga dveshada kritam, being an alert person, being watchful of our mind, and recognizing various thoughts that arise in our mind, and right away also scrutinizing them and then determine whether should I follow this impulse or not, should I follow this thought or not. It is the nature of thoughts to arise in our mind. We may not be able to do much about that, but once the thought arises, what should I do with that thought? Should I entertain that thought? Should I encourage that thought? Or should I let go of that thought? This is where our free will comes into play. A thought arises without our permission. What to do with that thought is what we have to decide. This is where the free will comes into play. Aragadveshadah kritam, Lord Krishna says that whatever you do, and every moment we do something, we talk to people, we interact with people, and every moment there is no raga and dvesha do not dictate what I say, do not dictate what I do not dictate what I think, do not dictate what I decide. Many decisions in the world are made out of jealousy, out of anger. That's how many wars are fought, because this one is angry at the other person, why did you do this? And this is how in the whole world we can see how the raga, dvesha, attachment, aversions, anger, jealousy, greed, they determine what human beings do when so much conflict is created, so much suffering is created. All this suffering in the world can be traced to this raga, kama, krodha and lobha. So krodha is anger, lobha is greed, and kama is lust. Every violence and every suffering can be traced to one of these three. Lord Krishna says, araga dveshatah kritam. May make sure that any of these impulses does not control what you do. You do niyatam, what is right for you, what that situation calls for, what is appropriate for the role that you have to play. Sangarahitam, without attachment. Aphala by the one who does not hanker after rewards. Now this is the theme that Lord Krishna has been saying from beginning of this Bhagavad Gita. So very famous verse that Lord Krishna taught to Arjuna. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Here Arjuna, it is your responsibility to perform your duty without the consideration for personal reward. When you perform an action, the outcome will be there. And when you decide to perform an action, outcome becomes an important thing, meaning that when you perform an action, there is a purpose behind performing action. Lord Krishna does not say perform action without purpose. There is always a purpose behind an action. There is always an objective behind an action, a goal behind an action. Lord Krishna doesn't deny that. But whatever, and what we want is our purpose must be served. To serve that purpose, very often we compromise the means for the sake of the end. Because I want to reach that destination fast and therefore I compromise means, meaning that I may violate some of the rules of the road, possible, because the end is important, then means are compromised. This is a simple example, but everywhere there are means and the end. Lord Krishna says the end is important, that what you want in life is important. But for that, do not compromise means. Do what is right. In English they say, dot all the I's and cross all the T's, Do that. Don't take shortcuts. Do what is to be done and do what is right to do. But Swami, that is very tedious. Takes a long time. We don't have patience for all of that. But if that is what is called for in a situation, that is what you should do. So, niyatam, sangarahitam, aragadveshadah kritam, aphala prepsuna. The Lord Krishna said, when you perform the action, you have a purpose behind that action. But then that purpose should not become the criterion. The end should not become the criterion. Means should become the criterion. Meaning that what you do must be right, even if you do not like it. That is how it happened in case of Arjuna. That Arjuna knew what he had to do. He knew that he was a Kshatriya. He knew that it was his duty to protect Dharma. That Arjuna knew that he represented the forces of Dharma. He knew that the Kauravas represented forces of Adharma. That this was a conflict between Dharma and Adharma, not between Pandavas and Kauravas. The conflict between the cousins, it was a conflict between Dharma and Adharma. But Arjuna turned into conflict between the cousins. This is, no, I can't fight with my... No, they are not your cousins. In the battlefield there is no cousin. Suppose there is a cricket match in a college between the students and the professors. The students 11 and the professors 11. And they're playing cricket match. Now I'm a bowler. And my professor comes there with a bat. Who is my professor? I cannot, ball him out. So I give him a full toss. And he hits a sixer. Is that the way to do? In the cricket field, there are no professors and no students. There are only two teams. That's all there are. Is it not so? In the battlefield, there are no cousins and no uncles. Battlefield, there are the enemies. Dharma and adharma, this is a simple distinction. Arjuna forgot because of his emotion. He forgot that. When he came, he was very clear. But some point in time, something happened to him and the whole thing turned around. And instead of looking upon them as force of adharma, he started looking upon them as his cousins and relatives and friends and kith and kin, and the whole thing changed. When Arjuna's perception changed, his emotions changed, his feelings changed, his decision changed. So Lord Krishna had to spend nearly 700 verses. At the end, Arjuna says, Karishye vachanam tava, I'll do what you ask me to do. It took a long time, hundreds of verses. And Lord Krishna very patiently kept on teaching him. At the end, Lord Krishna also asks him, Arjuna, have you listened to what I say? Have you listened to me carefully? Have you understood what I have said? If Arjuna says, no, I have not understood what you said, then Lord Krishna will start all over again. Fortunately, Arjuna said, yes, I have understood that my delusion is gone, my ignorance is gone, I have gained my vision. So Lord Krishna is assured that his teaching has worked. But the point is that until now Arjuna understood that he is not fighting with his cousins or relatives, it is dharma versus adharma. It became very clear to him. He recognized that he is not a killer, he is Atma who is free from, as we said yesterday, we read that verse, there is no kartrutva, no worship. That the Atma doesn't get killed. Nayam hanti nahanyate, the self does not kill, the self is not killed. All of these now understood by Arjuna, and therefore he is very clear. You can imagine what kind of wisdom we require to live our life correctly. Whatever wisdom, maturity we have, we live life according to that. But what level of wisdom or maturity is expected, or we can grow up to what point when our life will become a life free from all conflict, life of total devotion and total contribution. Aphala prepsana. Lord Krishna says that let personal reward not be the consideration of what you do. Understand this, personal reward. When action is performed, the outcome is there. An outcome is kept in mind when you perform the action. But it should not be so, for example, when I am talking, then the outcome is there that you are listening. And I hope also that when I am saying something that you understand what I am saying. So that is quite all right. But then if my consideration is that these people will understand what I say, then they will be really impressed by me, and then they'll give me a great Guru Dakshina. So I'm just, some thoughts occur in my, I'm just talking about that. No, that is the personal reward. What is the purpose of my communication to you? Purpose should be very simple. Is that my role is that of a teacher, and that I should communicate to you what is right, what Lord Krishna is teaching to the best of my ability. That's what I should communicate to you, with no other consideration. No personal consideration. That because of I will personally benefit in one way, but that always comes in every action. I am just putting myself into spot so that you are all off the hook. But then in every situation, our mind is such that our mind is a self-centered mind, and therefore it wants to twist and turn the situation so that my personal end will be served. You know those, I remember some saying in our language, in the native language, regional language, that there are those, the fellows who, they are called to remove ghosts and stuff like that, you know. They come and dance and then do all kinds of things, and then there is a coconut, and then in that coconut supposedly he has drawn the spirit and then throws away the coconut. So this ghost is gone. In which direction did he throw away coconut, you know? In the direction of his village. He throws away, on the way back he'll pick up that coconut and go. Meaning that in everything that we do, there's always a personal consideration, a self-centered consideration is there, because human being is a self-centered creature. And we think that when our self-centeredness is satisfied, that we are successful. We congratulate ourselves, not knowing that that is in fact binding me. Self-centeredness is like fire, and more I satisfy that, the more it grows, more demanding it becomes. So therefore Lord Krishna says, no self-centeredness. Attachment means self-centeredness. You give up that, Arjuna, you give up self-centeredness. You self-centered is not there. What is there? Other-centeredness. Lord Krishna gave a huge agenda. Ishvara means the totality. That's a big thing for us. To perform an action as an offering to the whole universe. Now, that may be a big deal for us. But at least perform an action for some cause other than self-centeredness. Then there be some cause in life. Not that all that I do is only satisfying my desires, my ego. Let there be some cause in life. Ideal cause, of course, is Ishvara. That's too huge for us. It's easy to say Ishvararpanam. This, may the Lord be pleased. Great. May Parameshvara Priyatam, may the Lord be pleased by the action that I perform. Even that attitude is great. But what Lord Krishna is, that is the highest kind of cause that we can have, that let the whole universe be benefited from what I do. No, that is a huge cause, that but let me be a small contributor at least. Let the cause of my life be, may I be a contributor in everything that I do. But Swamiji, if I keep on contributing, what will happen to me? That self-centered fellow always objects to what I want to do. The greed inside me, the self-centeredness inside me, it always objects to any good thing that I want to do. And therefore, when we want to do something which is good, in the spirit of contribution, we'll overcome that fellow inside. That greedy self has to be overcome. The self-centered self has to be overcome. And that is how we overcome slowly the tamas and rajas. The rajas and tamas, they create self-centeredness. So when I do not submit to that, I am slowly overcoming rajas and tamas, and that's how my mind, I cultivate sattva in my mind. Niyatam sangarahitam ragadveshatah kritam afala prepsuna karma. But I do not want any personal reward from this action. Now, Swamiji, how we can't live our life like that. We don't suggest that you do. But that's what Lord Krishna says. It will take some time before we rise to that point. That's a tall order. When will that happen? When I'm very sure that Ishvara will take care of me. Right now, it's hard for me to say I have to take care of myself. As long as I believe that I have to take care of myself, it's very difficult for me to give up all my self-centeredness. My insecurity doesn't allow me to give up myself completely. But to whatever extent I can give up myself, ultimate goal is that I become completely available to the universe. Now, those karma yogis are very rare, but this is what Lord Krishna wants. He wants us to grow to that point. So that was the ideal that Mahatma Gandhi had. He was a great devotee of Bhagavad Gita and a great lot of thought and contemplation he had given. And he was trying to mold himself on the basis of what Lord Krishna teaches. How to become free from attachment, how to become detached, how to become free from personal reward, how to become free basically. These things are binding us, and then how to become free. So araga dveshta kritam afala prepsuna karma yattat satvikam uchyate. That karma is called satvikam karma, born of the sattva disposition of mind. But Swamiji, I don't have that disposition. Then what should I do? That's when that thing, fake it till you make it. What is faking? Pretending? Pretending that you are a sattvic person. Then follow this. No, my mind may not necessarily cooperate with me in doing this, but I try as much as I can. I pretend as though I am a sattvic person, and I try to follow these values as much as I can. By doing it for a long time, in course of time, my mind will be transformed into a sattvic mind. So fake it till you make it means as though I am a sattvic person, then I'll follow these attitudes. I'll make my mind follow the attitudes. And slowly it becomes then my nature. Then this is called moksha. You attain the goal of your life. Understand how simply karma, meaning our day-to-day behavior, when done properly, leads us to what? Leads us to the highest goal. In the third chapter also Lord Krishna said, Asakto hyacharan karma paramapnodi purushaha. The person who performs karma without the attachment gains the ultimate. Then of course knowledge will come. That's not going to be difficult. When the mind is ready, everything will happen. If the teacher has to come and the teaching has to come, it will all happen. But that requires preparation. Vedanta talks about the adhikaritvam, preparation. And this is the way to prepare the mind. Then in contrast, the other two are told, the karma arising from rajas and from tamas. So next verse, verse number 7, says what does a rajasic person do, which is what most people are. So we read the 7th verse. Yattu kamepsuna karma sahankarena va punah kriyate bahulayasam tadrajasamudahritam. See the translation, tadrajasam udahritam, that action is said to be born of rajas. When the mind is predominant rajas, then this is what will happen. So, how does Rajoguna manifest itself? Kamepsuna karma, done by one desirous of results. Sahankarena, by one who is egoistic. Kriyate bahulayasam, and which is highly strenuous. So these are the characteristics of the karma which is originated from rajas, or born out of rajas. In short, when there is rajas in our mind, the most important thing is that what is in it for me? A person whose mind is predominant rajas asks this question, what is in it for me? So whenever anything is to be done, the first consideration, what do I gain personally? What is the personal reward from this action? And I will perform that action which gives me reward, or I will perform action in a way that will give me reward. You follow? Either I choose an action that gives me reward, or whatever action I perform in such a way that it will give me reward. The personal reward, ego gratification or self-gratification is the primary consideration of the mind which has rajas in predominance. Sattva, a mind that wants to give, a mind that wants to be helpful and useful, which wants to contribute, that is sattva. So therefore we deliberately adopt the spirit of contribution to make the mind sattvic. The mind that is rajas always looks for its own interest, self-interest. Yattu kamepsuna karma. So born of the one desire of kama means result. So first consideration is what is the personal reward in this karma? In what am I going to do? But Swamiji, how else do we function in the world? If the people discover that this fellow is now, he has given up self-interest, then what will they do to me? They'll exploit me. They'll rob everything away from me because I am become an easy target for them. So don't declare this. Meaning that keep this in your mind. Don't declare to the world that now I've given up all attachment. Keep it with you. There was one karma yogi who was a businessman, and his value was that he wanted to do what he wanted. All his work without attachment to the outcome. Do what is right. So his guru told him, don't say this to our employees. Otherwise, result is not important. So they will give up all they'll do what is easy to do. They won't bother about the outcome at all, and you will be out of business in no time. So keep this thing in your mind. That just do not declare it to the world that now I have decided to not worry about the outcome result at all. What is personal benefit? Keep that in your mind. But here, mostly we find most people in the world that we come across are those who have rajas predominantly. And therefore, everybody performs action as prompted by the desire for personal reward, ego gratification, sense gratification, self-gratification. Sahankarena va punaha. A Rajoguni person says, I am doing this, this is my... You know who has done this? So, sometimes we perform experiments in our colleges and so forth, and then when the right result comes, then one of them... You know whose idea was this? You know who told him? So, we want the credit for what is to be done. So we are always there to take the credit. I did it. It is my work. It is my accomplishment. Ahankara means it is my accomplishment. I congratulate myself for the success of the action. Not realizing that I am just one of the factors in that success. Success comes when many things actually become favorable. Then I happen to be at the right place, the right time. I went to the bus stop, I was 5 minutes late, thank God bus also was late. I went for interview and if thank God I was the first one, next one was my colleague, or my co-student, much brighter than me, but I went there first, I was hired there. That fellow didn't get it. So very often things happen to us because many factors are favorable. There are many forces which always play the role in deciding the outcome. Is it not so? If you're lucky, then some of those variables are favorable to you. Not that you deserve them, not that, but you just happen to be lucky. But here is a person who wants to take credit for all the achievements. That it's my achievement. Sahankarena vapuna. I did it. My idea. My skills. And it's my accomplishment. This belongs to me. This we find everywhere in the world, everybody claiming, the credit for the success. It's called ahankara. The success belongs to me. It is because of me. That's what a rajasic person will do. Kamipsuna karma sahankaranamapuna kriyate bahulayasam. Usually these actions which are born of rajas involve a lot of strain because their goals are very high and therefore they are shooting very high and therefore they exhaust themselves in accomplishing those results. Tad rajasam udahrutam, that karma is called born of rajas. And what about the karma born of tamas? The next verse says that. Anubandham kshayam himsam anavekshya cha paurusham mohadarabhyate karma yat tattamasamuchyate. A tamoguni person doesn't think. His thinking is deluded. And therefore he just makes all wrong decisions. So here, Duryodhana is one of the persons who can qualify for this description. When you perform an action, you must take into consideration certain basic things. Anubandham, what is going to be the outcome of this action? First thing. First consideration is that what I am doing something, what will be the outcome? Will it be something that is favorable to me, not favorable to me? That is the first thing that we have to look at, we have to consider. Kshayam, in accomplishing the goal, what is going to be the cost? What cost is going to involve? I want to take over this, Ukraine, something like that example. Oh, I think that in 1 week I'll wind up everything. What cost is involved there? How many people are dying? How much money is being cost? So, not thinking about what the consequences will be, what also the kshaya, meaning that what is the cost involved in that. Anubandham, kshayam, himsam. Kshayam means what cost will it involve? What will be the outcome? Secondly, to accomplish the outcome, what cost will be involved? Do I have those resources to accomplish that or not? So Duryodhana undertook this battle without considering Anubandham, what will be the outcome of this? That so many, all these will be killed and I will also die, everybody will die. Kshayam, that will be the cost that is there. What is the outcome? That defeat will be the outcome. And loss of life will be the outcome. Himsam, So all of that cost will be involved. So much violence will be involved. Paurusham, whether or not I have the capacity to do that. So when we undertake something, Paurusham, do I have the capacity to perform this action? Do I have the resources to accomplish this action? You can't plunge into something and then discover that, oh, I did not think of this. I find that I don't have the resources. You let it go. Very often people begin. They do the arambha, means that they begin something and then they find out. They begin a huge project, find out there are no funds. So many things we find incomplete or unaccomplished, many buildings are done, many public projects also are not complete because on the way I discover that I don't have resources. I never thought of what will be required. Anavekshaya paurusham, whether I have the capacity to do that or not. Whether I have my skills, do I have the skills? Do I have the abilities? So all of these have to be considered. A tamoguni person will not consider any of these things. He'll just do it. Something happened, he starts doing it. What are you doing? I'm walking. Where? I'm going to 700 miles away. Where? Yeah, he just starts walking. 700 miles? When will you? I don't care. On the way, then he's hungry and thirsty and this and then, then the whole world sympathizes. Look at what you are doing. But why do you do this? He sets out from this place and wants to go to Bihar 700 miles away or 800 miles away. And then the whole world is so, look at this fellow, he's so sad, he's so strained and he's hungry and why do you do that? So you just set out. Anavekshaja paurusham, without any consideration, just you plunge into something. Without any consideration, without whether you have the capacity, whether you have the resources, whether you can ever reach there. Is it a worthwhile goal? Then what you want to do, is it worthwhile to achieve? Is it possible to achieve? Do you have resources to achieve? Do you have capacity to achieve? And what cost is going to involve? Without thinking of anything, you just plunge into this. Some people do that. They are called the tamasic people. People who do not think or who are deluded in thinking. Mohat arabhyate karma, out of delusion means out of wrong thinking. Moha means aviveka. So what is right is thought to be wrong, what is wrong is thought to be right, and that's how this is the characters of tamoguna. Yat tat tamasamuchyate. That kind of an action is called the action origin from tamas. So sattva, rajas and tamas. So Lord Krishna very beautifully describes all of this. Earlier Lord Krishna gave description of karma yoga, but when you take all this into account, then we can understand the teaching earlier also. So Lord Krishna says, your right is only in the action, not in the result thereof. How? So then, if you want to be a sattvic person, then that is what it is. Rajoguna, then he wants always the result. Tamoguna, he doesn't think at all. And so, all these in Karma Yoga, when we want to understand Karma Yoga, it is very important also to understand the verses that we have taken here for discussion. For our day-to-day life. This is not a theoretical teaching. This is Gita teaches how to live life and how to be happy and how to be free. And this teaching is meant for helping us to live our life happily and successfully. And wherever difficulties are there, they're all pointed out here. What we should avoid and what we should choose. So, that is how the karma. Jnanam, karma cha karta cha. Lord Krishna said, I will describe the threefold knowledge, I will describe threefold karma, and tomorrow we will see threefold karta, or the doer of the karma, in the discussion. Om. Om पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।